Havana is a city that feels like it was frozen in time, where vintage cars roll past colorful colonial buildings and music spills into the streets at every corner. At the very heart of it all lies Habana Vieja, or Old Havana, a UNESCO World Heritage Site that captures the soul of Cuba. Walking through its cobblestone streets is like stepping into a living museum, filled with history, art, and rhythm. But with so much to explore, it's easy to miss the true highlights. That's why in this video we're counting down the top 10 landmarks in Old Havana you absolutely can't miss. Number 10, Plaza Vieja. Let's start with Plaza Vieja, which means Old Square. Despite the name, this plaza feels vibrant and alive. It was originally built in the 1500s as a marketplace where residents traded food, animals, and goods. Over the centuries, it's been everything from a parade ground to a spot for bullfights and carnivals. Today, Plaza Vieja is one of the most beautiful and lively places in Havana. It's surrounded by restored colonial mansions, many painted in pastel blues, yellows, and greens. Some buildings have been turned into art galleries, boutique hotels, and rooftop cafes where you can sip Cuban coffee while people watching. A highlight here is the Cámara Oscura, an old optical device housed in a tower that gives you a 360-degree live view of the city. It's like an old-school version of Google Earth, and it's fascinating. Pro tip, visit in the late afternoon, when the light is golden and street musicians fill the square with salsa and jazz. It's the perfect way to ease into Havana's rhythm. Number 9, Plaza de Armas. Next up is Plaza de Armas, the oldest square in Havana, founded in the early 1500s. The name Plaza de Armas comes from the Spanish tradition of using the central square as a military parade ground. Today, it's a leafy, shaded spot lined with palm trees and benches. What makes it special is the secondhand book market. Here, vendors sell everything from old Cuban novels and revolutionary posters to antique maps and records. Even if you don't read Spanish, these make amazing souvenirs. Around the plaza, you'll also find historic buildings like the Palacio de los Capitanes Generales, once home to the Spanish governors of Cuba, and now a museum. Walking through Plaza de Armas feels like stepping into Havana's early history. It's calm, charming, and full of character. Number 8, Castillo de la Real Fuerza. Guarding the entrance to Havana's harbor is the Castillo de la Real Fuerza, one of the oldest stone fortresses in the Americas. It was built in the 1500s to defend Havana from pirates. Interestingly, it never actually saw battle. It was more of a symbol of Spanish power than a functional defense. The fort's most famous feature is La Giraldilla, a bronze weather vane shaped like a woman perched on top of the watchtower. She's become one of Havana's enduring symbols. You'll even find her image on Havana Club rum bottles. Inside, the fortress houses a maritime museum with models of old Spanish galleons and artifacts from Cuba's seafaring past. The views from the ramparts are fantastic, especially at sunset when the harbor glows with golden light. Number 7, Plaza de la Catedral. Now we arrive at perhaps the most photographed square in Havana, Plaza de la Catedral. This plaza is dominated by the stunning Havana Cathedral, built in the 1700s from coral stone taken from the sea. If you look closely at the walls, you can actually see fossilized seashells embedded in the stone. How cool is that? The cathedral's Baroque facade, with its asymmetrical towers, makes it one of the most unique churches in the Caribbean. Inside, it's simple but elegant, with tall ceilings and religious artwork. Around the plaza, you'll find colonial mansions turned into museums and restaurants. One favorite is the Palacio de los Marqueses de Aguas Claras, which now houses a restaurant serving Cuban specialties. This plaza is one of those places where you'll want to just sit, sip a mojito, and take in the beauty around you. Number 6, El Capitolio. At number 6, we have El Capitolio, Havana's Grand National Capitol building. If it looks familiar, that's because it was modeled after the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C., but with a Cuban twist. In fact, El Capitolio is actually taller than its American counterpart. Built in the 1920s, this building was once the seat of the Cuban government. Today, it houses the National Assembly, but visitors can tour parts of it to admire the marble halls. You giant bronze statues, and the world's third largest indoor statue, called La Estatua de la República. The building's massive dome dominates Havana's skyline, and at night, it's beautifully illuminated. Whether you admire it from the outside or step inside for a tour, El Capitolio is a must-see. Number 5. Museo de la Revolución. If you want to understand Cuba's modern history, head to the Museum of the Revolution. It's housed in the former presidential palace, which was once home to Cuban leaders before the revolution. The museum walks you through the Cuban Revolution of the 1950s, highlighting figures like Fidel Castro, Che Guevara, and Camilo Cienfuegos. You'll see everything from military uniforms and weapons to propaganda posters and photographs. Outside, there's a display called the Grandma Memorial, which houses the yacht that brought Castro and his revolutionaries from Mexico to Cuba in 1956. Even if you're not a history buff, the building itself is impressive. Ornate ballrooms, marble staircases, and bullet holes still visible in the walls. It's both beautiful and sobering. Number 4. Malecón. Next up is the Malecón, Havana's famous seawall that stretches for 8 kilometers along the coast. The Malecón is more than just a barrier against the waves. It's the city's outdoor living room. By day, you'll see fishermen casting lines and vintage cars cruising by. By night, couples walk hand in hand, kids play, and musicians set up impromptu performances. The energy here is magical, especially at sunset when the sky turns orange and pink. Grab a seat on the wall, order a street snack, and just soak it all in. The Malecón is the soul of Havana. Number 3. Gran Teatro de la Habana. At number 3, we have the Gran Teatro de la Habana, or the Great Theater of Havana. This stunning Baroque building dates back to the early 1900s and is home to the Cuban National Ballet. The exterior is covered in sculptures and ornate balconies, while the inside features sweeping staircases and chandeliers. Even if you're not into ballet, try to catch a performance here. It's a chance to experience Cuban culture at its highest level of artistry. If you can't make a show, guided tours of the theater are available, and they're worth every minute. Number 2, Plaza de San Francisco de Asís. Our second to last stop is Plaza de San Francisco de Asís, named after the basilica and monastery that dominate the square. This plaza was once the arrival point for Spanish galleons, making it one of the busiest spots in colonial Havana. Today, it's a peaceful square with a fountain in the middle, surrounded by restored buildings that now house art galleries and cafes. The basilica itself is often used as a concert hall, thanks to its incredible acoustics. It's a great place to slow down, listen to live music, and enjoy the atmosphere of Old Havana. Number 1. El Floridita. And finally, our number 1 landmark, El Floridita. This bar might look like just another tourist stop, but it's legendary. El Floridita opened in 1817 and became world famous as the birthplace of the daiquiri cocktail. It was also one of Ernest Hemingway's favorite hangouts. He even has a bronze statue at the bar where you can pose for photos. Inside, the decor is old-school Havana glamour. Red velvet, wood paneling, and a lively atmosphere. Order a daiquiri, raise your glass, and toast to your Havana adventure. And that wraps up our list of the top 10 landmarks in Old Havana you can't miss. From grand cathedrals and colonial plazas to legendary bars and the buzzing Malecón, Havana is a city that grabs hold of you and doesn't let go. So, if you're planning a trip, make sure these landmarks are on your list. And if you've already been, let me know in the comments which spot was your favorite, or if I missed one of your must-sees. Don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful. Subscribe for more travel guides and share this with a friend who's dreaming of Havana. Thanks for watching, and hasta luego from Cuba.